Okay, some details. All right, it being 5:01, we'll call the August 18th meeting of the West Bridgewater Board of Water Commissioners to order. First item is to review and approve the minutes of the July 20, I should have said been the
August.
8/4 meeting. I had given Kerry comments before. Does either of you have comments on the last meeting minutes?
No.
Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Warrants are being signed. We actually have some abatements and refunds to do. Town of West Bridgewater, the other ones all final.
A couple of them are, they said they didn't get their May bill, so they asked for the $50 demand charge removed, which commissioners usually do a one-time abatement.
And all these are only been one time?
They haven't had any, this is their
This-
one-time.
okay.
Yeah.
A bunch of national development that actually sounds like it could have been one.
So there was a changeover in hands, so the bills probably went to a different address,
Okay.
586 Manley Street.
Yep. Yeah, it was a different building address.
Yep.
Okay. Sure. Refund.
That was a house.
That was the house
Yeah.
sale. Obviously encumbrance because, for the electrical because of what happened with,
I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
Yep,
so it just didn't get processed.
correct.
Call John, we can get the receipts. And our National Grid bill,
Well, those are the same fellow already sold,
Good.
those are July, June, July.
but these are included?
Separate, that was from February, March.
Yeah, so that these are new.
Correct.
Just to sign all three of them.
Just one signature, your signature's fine on
But on,
it. Just right on
just
that.
on one, doesn't have to do each month.
Yeah, you do have to do each month, just one
Yeah.
signature on each one, sorry.
That one, another one's making their way through. So, Mr. Hoyt, you're up.
Ready for me? All right, thank you. So I guess I'll start with the Steer Norman one, because that's the project where we're up against that DEP SRF deadline in order for us to get the project awarded by the end of August so that we
Bless you.
can retain our principal forgiveness on that project. So as I think you guys are all aware, in order to get to that point and satisfy the requirements for the SRF principal forgiveness, we need to have the contract awarded.
Right.
And one of the precursors for that is getting DEP's authorization to award. And for their authorization, we're down to two items that they need. The first is they requested written proof of the planning board approval. We've been told by planning board we can pick that up tomorrow. So we have somebody lined up to come down tomorrow when town hall's open. And I think they have to pick it up, bring it somewhere to get it signed, and then we can take it with us, get it scanned and over to DEP. And then the other item that DEP needs is the signed agreement for construction engineering. So as you may recall, because we went through this with Manley, in order to use SRF funds for construction, you need to meet DEP's requirements for CA and RPR. As you know, they're extensive, which is, why we're seeing on the Manly side, we scope and we do the fee based on the letter of what DEP requires. And then we work our hardest with you to be more efficient than what that is. And we're successful with that on Manly, and we hope to be successful in Sierra Leone. I believe Jenna brought the amendment with her last meeting, but I don't believe it was signed at that time. But that same draft of that amendment is what was submitted when we went for the appropriation this year, and it's the same document that was submitted to DEP for their approval. So at this point, we just need it executed so that we can send the executed version to DEP. And then that's the second of the two hurdles we'll need. And then it's all going to be in DEP's court to review the package. We actually sent them a draft of the package at the end of last week to get the ball rolling. Originally, they told us they wouldn't look at it till we had everything, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if some of you were copied, and all of a sudden, like, when are you going to send this in? It's like, we told us not to send it in until you had everything, so we'll send it in today. And then we did. So I think they're aware that the deadline is coming, and they don't want to wait till the last minute to have to review everything.
Yeah.
So those are really the two things. One is going to be resolved tomorrow, and then the other is just, having that agreement signed.
That would be this contract agreement, 0510.
So it's technically the amendment. I also brought a copy if you want. I sent Carrie a copy.
Yeah, we got clean copies here.
Okay. Yeah, so essentially, it's not a new contract. We're just amending the design contract. We're adding in that MEPA permitting that we agreed to, several months back. Then it also adds the
That was
CA.
that was the enhanced environmental notification form that popped up
Exactly.
in the middle of the job.
The Brockton environmental justice surprise we got. Yeah.
What's this thing?
So the additional is 1.026 million. What was the original?
720.
That's what I was just looking at.
720,000 was the design.
Yeah, so that hasn't been changed yet, but that will get changed. And you would, when you did the environmental notification form one, you would tracking what you did extra for the EENF.
Yeah, so essentially, we always knew we were going to do an E and F.
Yeah.
But if you recall, what we got permission to
Do the
do
enhanced.
was an enhanced
Because
E
we had
and
to.
F,
Yep,
and then the rollover EIR. And so that ended up costing us a little over $40,000 to do, but we had told you guys it was going to be $35,000, so the $35,000 is what we're being charged.
and but that was in addition to the original ENF that we're gonna have to do anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then admin and resident project rep is all salary plus.
Yep.
So you come down under, we're not necessarily spending that full amount.
Yeah, our intent would be, again,
Same
to be
with
efficient,
magistrate.
be on site when we need to, combine trips where we can, and, be on site less than total hours. But as you know, one of the requirements of DEP is we have to scope it
Yeah.
out, as if we're gonna be on full-time for the duration of the project.
Well, I hope so. $1 million is a lot.
It is. And doing that and cutting it back, you don't lose the ESR. If you have to budget for it, you don't have to use it.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same
Yeah.
situation when we go over
Exact same
Manly,
thing.
how you're gonna be,
Yeah.
giving it back, so to speak, would, be a similar situation.
Any questions for James on the contract?
It is what it is. Those are the numbers that we have to agree to. 1.76 million, 1.746. I don't have any questions.
Better than 250.
Yeah.
Mark, you? And I'll accept a motion to accept the contract and execute it so they can send it into DEP.
I'll make the motion.
Mark? Second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed?
Well, you got payroll for next month,
You
James.
need one copy signed?
Yeah, I mean, if I could take, I don't know if Wayne can run a copy for me before I leave, but just so I can get it scanned and into DEP tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, well, while we're doing that, keep going.
Yeah, I guess any other questions on Sierra Norman at this point? I think, like I said, once we clear those two hurdles,
I mean, you have the contracts that I signed from the last one's already been taken care of,
so.
water lines all set.
Exactly, so we have to wait for DEP authorization, at which time we'll fill in the dates, and that will become, official. I'll call you before we do that. And then the next, point of order would be to get the notice to proceed signed. But that doesn't hold up the DEP piece, so I can bring that to the next board meeting. We can execute that one once the dust settles on meeting this SRF deadline. But, I mean, we think this is a positive, but Waterline has indicated they'd like to be on site as early as October to get started. Which means it'll be a busy September for us, doing shop drawings and all of that, which means we're gonna have to borrow some of your time. So at some point we may.
Yeah,
want
we
to-
have to get together on the OPM
Exactly.
scheduling and how we're gonna work that sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Can we
so my,
can we build them?
Doing
Bill me?
it for free to save the town money. Love to build them for it, trust me.
yeah, so I guess we can figure out the exact timing for what works with you, but we'll need to set up a pre-construction meeting
Yeah.
with the contractor. And we typically like to do that before all the paperwork starts rolling in,
Yeah.
because we have, pretty detailed instructions in the specs, how we want that process to go. And, having the meeting before those all start coming in, we can kind of set.
Head off the problems.
Yeah, and so then, it'd be up to you, if you have time that day, we could either meet with you before or after that meeting, so we're not.
We'll figure it out when it gets closer.
But yeah, but mostly just, I think, coming to an understanding on, shop drawings, which ones you want to see before they're signed off on versus which ones maybe, you don't feel the need to look at. Because there will be dozens of them on the project.
More than
size.
dozens.
So, obviously all the process critical things, we'll send your way, but, we'll kind of follow your lead on what else you want to see. And then anything related to project financials, you're gonna have to see.
Yeah.
Are there any long lead time items for anything that's,
Yeah, I think we have some really scary lead times on some of these things.
for instance?
The transformer, we're seeing.
I think everybody's had issues
Yeah.
with that.
Year plus lead times. The motor control centers we're seeing sometimes quoted at a year plus lead times. Waterline's a bigger operation than Visco. They do plants this size, whereas, I think Visco's not doing projects this size. So we have a little bit of confidence that, in terms of tracking the critical path and understanding what things need to get, in the queue first, I think, Waterline's better on the block. So I think they'll work with us to get those lead things in. Whereas, Manly did a little bit of hand holding to try to get the critical path stuff figured out. But yeah, then we have, you know, PLCs, we have all the fun stuff, right, because we're starting from scratch. And then there's the coordination with the utility, getting the utility service brought in, and that can be,
That can
you
get
know,
worse than
a lot of
anything.
red tape, and it's not the lead time, it's the admin time getting the utility to play ball. So, again, it's all stuff that, you know, water line's done 100 times, and hopefully, you know, won't take a whole lot of hammering to get it done.
What type of utilities would they, do they have to increase the juice coming down Sear Street, or do they?
Yeah, it's essentially, it's considered a brand new electrical service. We're also bringing gas in, it's a gas generator up there.
Yeah, we have gas here though, so they should have it on Sear Street.
Yeah, I think you're getting a new meter for each.
Okay.
How long is the project?
So it's probably gonna be 2 seasons.
From October?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be from October all the way through next September, and then based on the lead items, yeah, I'd expect them to be working on it for most of the next year too. So I think
Just
it's gonna
because
be
we're not gonna be able to get the
2027.
pieces in time.
Yeah, and again, like, they're not gonna be on site full-time all of that time. I think what we see happen a lot is they're gonna get a bunch of the work done, and then they're gonna have to stop and demobilize to wait for some of the bigger items, like the transformer and the utility service. We've had treatment plants, you know, essentially done and sitting for 9 months waiting for that stuff. Hopefully, we're not one of those examples, but it happens.
So does the price change
No,
if you wait 9 months?
correct.
Okay. You can't come back and say, we didn't get power or anything, right?
I mean, if we're not on site, we're not charging you.
But he means the contractor.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to hit their contract times, right? So, you know, if they're shut down, the clock stops, unless they can claim unforeseen circumstances. And seeing as we can foresee these circumstances and they haven't started yet, they can foresee these circumstances.
I'm just concerned about the transformers. I know some of the jobs that we're on, the transformers are problems.
Yeah.
So if they, 2 seasons to get this thing up and running, we should have plenty of time to get that transformer on site.
Well, it's just order the long lead time stuff
Yeah.
right away and get it all online, that's all.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
lead-
gonna be an item on our
Yeah.
kickoff agenda with them, right? Is what are your long lead items? What are you seeing? You know.
Push
you-
the
you
middle
shop
right
lists,
away,
right?
don't wait.
What do you see? You do this every day. What do you see?
Yeah, we're seeing a year plus.
Yeah, but what do you see that has to be addressed?
In terms of the long lead items?
Yeah.
The MCC, sometimes generators, but in this case, the generator will be in well before the MCC, the transformer, and then again, PLCs, but I think we're talking small compared to the transformer, the MCC, and then again, the coordinating the utility work. So those are the 3 that I see.
I don't know if it got any better, but I waited almost a year for the PLCs for Manly.
I would think it's a little better, but again, I bet you they come in before the MCC and the
Yeah.
transformer.
They'll owe us a schedule with what's gonna get done when and what's the path, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll see if they figure it out and if they get any different things than you have on it.
Yeah.
All assuming we get the rest of the paperwork done and all through DEP by August 31st.
Yep. And, you know, they want to get it done by then too. You know, the vibe we're getting is that DEP's feeling a lot of pressure. They're, you know, not bending on anything. Essentially, they're afraid to stick their necks out and feel like they're being watched by EPA and the feds.
So we need to get,
So I think they're gonna do their part, and this is what I'm saying. You know, the 2 things we have control over, we should have to them tomorrow. And that's entirely in their court at that point. And I think they'll do their part.
We'll find out in a hurry.
Do you have the state set aside enough funds for the SRF for all the cities and towns, or do you know where they stand with that? I know I read something about the DEP for another 46 million or something that they threw in for the clean water management. I think that's what we're part of.
Yeah, so they have a clean water division and they have the drinking water. This project technically falls under the drinking water.
Okay.
But I mean, to your point, we know that the money is what's there and nothing more. They were telling us, 6 months ago, if a project comes in over budget, like, prepare to pay the difference.
Of course.
Whereas in previous years, if your bids came in a little higher than your estimate, you could go back to DEP and they would, most likely kick in the difference. The impression we got was that wasn't happening this year.
But the money that we actually are looking for is there.
Yes.
We don't have to
Right,
worry
our
about
project
that. Yeah.
came in under the budget, what was allocated. So we're not in any danger on our project of the funding not being there.
Anything else on CN Norman? Wayne?
No.
Okay. So on Manly, work is underway on the next 2 vessels. So they did so last week, as we heard loud and clear, because we tried to have a meeting on site as they were vacuuming out the media, it was quite loud. So they got the vessels cleaned out last week, and then we were actually on site this morning along with the contractor to take a look at the vessels. And our assessment is that the condition of those 2 vessels is similar to the condition that was in the first vessel that they did. So our expectation is that those vessels will take the same level of effort as the first, which is, what we expected. And then we're on site watching the work, tracking the work. We'll let you know kind of how that work progresses as they get, they're starting on it today essentially.
Okay, I heard them in the tank with the air chisel going at it.
Yeah. And they did bring in a second set, so they're doing both vessels at the same time, which is, good in terms of efficiency and just trying to limit the length of the shutdown.
And removing the media isn't part of the change order, and
Exactly.
that's
So the
it's all being tracked, so that only the stuff that actually is the change to do that work
Exactly.
is
Yep.
getting
So
done.
the only thing that the change order applies to is work within the vessel. The base bid covered everything we could foresee up to the point where we couldn't look in the vessel. So, the chemical addition work that they're doing on site, that's base bid. Taking out the media is base bid.
Okay, and the new media is
They
base
filled the
bid
new
too.
media
Okay.
in, that's
All right.
base bid.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
time and materials really is only the work that they're inside the tank.
Chiseling those clean notes off, or whatever they are.
Exactly. Yeah, so,
What do we
like I
call
said,
those?
that's
And they just
What?
started
What are
that
those
today.
called?
today. Yeah.
What called?
Those
Oh, the sand valves?
sand valves.
And so, so we have Derek on site and they're essentially tracking the quantities and we're getting updates on a weekly basis of who was on site, how many hours, what was actually done. Derek knows what was base bid versus what's change order, so he's keeping an eye on that.
What else is going on at Manly right now, besides them doing that?
So they did some instrumentation work. I don't actually know if they're on site this week or not. There's electrical work that, they're kind of up and around, but again, that's all base bid. And then when we were, at the end of last week, they were doing a lot of the plumbing for the chemical switchover, and they weren't, I'm assuming they're continuing that this week. It didn't look like they were close to done when we were there. And that's again, all base bid work.
Okay.
So along those lines, I did a funding and budget analysis that Wayne and I had discussed. because as you know, the funding on this one's pretty complicated, where we have what you appropriated, then you have SRF funds, and then you have ARPA funds, and they
Yeah.
all apply differently.
Yeah.
And we want to use the ARPA funds because it's a grant. That's, free money as opposed to, the SRF loan, which, still great, but it's a loan.
Well, in the ARPA, we can use on the design fees.
Yeah.
Not the SRF.
Yeah, exactly. The applicability. So there's a lot of numbers here, but hopefully I did a better job of laying it out in a clear way as opposed to last time I had it upside down on me. But starting at the funding sources, just kind of to remind everybody what we're looking at. So the appropriation is the $4 million. And then the ARPA funds is on top of that, and that was the $959,000. But then we have the SRF funding, and you'll see the little asterisk there. That's just because, as you notice, that doesn't go to the total. That overlaps with the appropriation. So it's not, you don't have $9 million to spend, right? So that's just why that is there. So essentially the SRF appropriation, the SRF funding required the appropriation, but it includes the construction and the contingency. That's what was eligible under SRF, and so that's why that number is the $3,960,285. If you were to go down to the bottom table and you want to know where that came from, you'll see there's the construction value under budget. That is what the contract with the contractor is, but then the contingency underneath. So those two numbers together is what set that appropriation. And then the second table is to show where we are in terms of the various sources of cost, and then how they're being funded. So for example, we're using the ARPA funds for the design and engineering work first, because as Art pointed out, that's not eligible for SRF, but it is eligible under ARPA. But you'll see we have more ARPA funds than there are engineering costs, and since ARPA is a grant, the preference would be to use that first, as opposed to, having ARPA left on the table. So the first item is this kind of engineering that's in between. So we had an amendment that included, kind of similar to the amendment we just agreed for. It had the C in the RPR, but it also had a little bit in there for some of the extra work we'd done during bidding with the bathroom and all of that. So ARPA paid for that. And then, as we kind of discussed last time, the engineering for the CA and the RPR is coming in under budget by about $118,000. So that's $118,000 we thought we were going to be using ARPA for, that we're no longer spending. And that's where this conversation becomes important, because we now
figure a way to spend it.
we need to spend it on construction. And we want to make, and I'll get into that, I guess, in a minute. But then if you look at the construction, the contract with BISCO is the $3.77 million. So far, they've spent $2.26 million, which means there's about $1.5 million left. Some of that estimate to complete includes retainage. So, even though it's not spent yet, it is technically committed, provided they hold up their end of the bargain. So that's just a little, so if you told them to go home today, they technically would be owed more than 1.5 million, but you'll see the balance is zero. That's expected to essentially stay that number, because one of the decisions we had made was to pay any change order work out of the ARPA, so we didn't have to deal with DEP and their paperwork on that work. And then that brings us to the contingency. So we have that 187 plus or minus $1,000. We haven't used any of it, and we're not expecting to use any of it out of the SRF. So that's another $187,000 right off the bat of SRF funds we don't anticipate using. So that will essentially reduce the
cost of
principal
it,
of your
yeah.
loan
Good.
when all is said and done. And then the last line item is the change orders. You'll see it's italicized. That's because these numbers aren't, set in stone yet. So, the big one is the time and materials work we're doing on the vessels. The original estimate was 94. We thought that was high. They're doing time and materials. The first vessel came in under. The next two vessels, conditions look similar. So we're going to continue to track that. Hopefully that 101 comes down because we don't hit that original estimate. And then we're going to revisit that number also when I talk about the bag filter in a moment. So long story short, if where we are with what we've committed to today, so to speak, our worst case is looking like we're going to be $203,540 under budget.
In the black.
Yeah, under budget.
Yeah.
So if we then look at it broken down per funding source, and this is kind of what I was alluding to, we want to make sure we use all the ARPA funds. So we have the ARPA funds, which is the $960,000. So far, we've spent about $414,000 of it. And for the things we planned on spending it on, there's only $200,000 of work left, which leaves this $345,000. So what we would propose we use that for is A, pay for the bag filter, and then B, start paying BISCO's bills with it, so that at the end of the project, what you have spent and asked reimbursement through SRF will have decreased, which means the principal on your loan will have decreased. And this is all great news because every iteration we have done of your rate analysis has assumed that it was going to be these numbers. And if you look, best case scenario, it could be a $500,000 less impact than we estimated when we did your last
Because of
rate
the
analysis.
200,000 under
Construction
on the
costs.
regular budget and then taking the ARPA funds out of
And
the
using
SRF.
Exactly, yep. So, what this kind of means we have to be on top of is every pay application we, process, we have to make sure that balance to finish is greater than what we have less in ARPA funds, so we don't accidentally run out of bills before we've drawn down the ARPA balance. So that's really going to be on, us and, Barry, our construction manager, to do that.
James, where do they stand now for a construction date, final finished construction date on this?
Yeah, so we're looking at about 6 weeks, I think, from now to finish all of what, all the shutdown work.
Yeah.
And then, I don't remember the exact delivery date on the PFAS media, but that's only another 2 weeks of work, they think.
So that's like 2 months, middle of October?
Yeah, but the unknown is the bag filter. We've been hammering them to try to get them to commit to the number because I wanted it for tonight so that I didn't have a question mark in this table. But apparently Mike Bisco is on vacation and they're afraid to release a number without him seeing it first. So we likely won't have a final number on the bag filter till early next week. Needless to say, it's not a $500,000 item. So,
Yeah, what's the lead time on it?
Yeah.
so
Because that's
we
the
were-
other thing is, we don't want to be starting that up without the bag filter in place.
So this is the conversation we've had where essentially Wayne is like, you need to tell me when that's gonna be done, so Wayne can decide what's the least disruptive way to handle it. Is it, do we bring the green sand back online and not bring our new PFAS online and then come back and do the bag filter, or is the gap short enough that he can live with the plant being down for the additional couple weeks? So we were told that the book lead time is, what was it, 30 days. We're hoping that once it's actually released, they can do better than that, but they won't commit to a shorter time without a purchase order. And we won't release it until we have a number.
Yeah. How long's Mike's vacation?
He's out all this week.
Oh, so it's not like he's coming back in October or something.
Oh, sorry, no, I wanted an answer for tonight, because I wanted this table to be like pretty close to the number.
He doesn't answer his email on vacation? The owner of the company?
Right.
Really?
I was copied on the emails. Victor is pushing him pretty hard.
It kind of sounds like he does the numbers. He's not here.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sure that's kind of what it is. I'm sure it's,
Couldn't do it before, really?
he had, in our opinion, he had time to do it before he went away. I mean, we didn't ask for this last week, right?
No,
We
this has
asked
been
for
out
this-
there for a while
Yeah.
now.
So, I mean, we ran into this with them too on the schedule. It's like sometimes it's like you're screaming into a void with them. And we just, it took a nasty email for me to get an angry call for him, but we got a schedule after that. So, if we have to do that when he gets back, we'll do that too.
Emails don't go to Cape?
I don't know where he is. Yeah, I'm usually guilty of, checking my phone while on vacation, but.
Well, that's part of
Yes,
business.
Well, he's the owner, so
Yeah.
if he doesn't want to, who's gonna say anything to him?
Well, angry customers.
Me, but he doesn't seem to care what I think.
Yeah, well,
It's not scary enough.
that's why you didn't get, well,
But yeah, that's the one unknown. So, and like I said, we don't anticipate it, being anywhere where we're, drastically changing this conversation.
okay.
It's gonna be under budget, even having done that work. You're gonna have ARPA funds left even after doing the bag filter to offset construction work we previously thought would be paid for under SRF. So, it's good news for the ratepayers.
Yeah, and just make sure they stay on it when they're looking at the bills as they come in, and make sure the ARPA money gets sent to that first for the billing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we can't then take that, if we have leftover, it's not like we can move it over to the Sierra Norman Ave project or
But
something.
it is locked to
Yeah,
this
it's
location.
this period, so it's not like we have, if we don't use it, we lose it.
The other item I had was related to perchlorate, if you're interested in discussing that now.
If you have new information, we might as well hear it.
Can you explain what perchlorate does?
Honestly, no. I haven't
It costs
personally.
us money to remove it from the water.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
regulated
remove it
in
from the
Mass.
It's a tree, yeah, it's a
Oh.
contaminant.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
contaminant.
I thought we were adding, okay.
I think it's another one of these byproducts from
Oh,
manufacturing.
this isn't another unfunded mandate, is it, that we have to take care of this, remove this from the water?
We're not there yet.
They have, so
Right.
Mass DEP hasn't
But-
said anything yet. I've tested to see each well individually to see where, hopefully it's in one well and not both, and hopefully it's in the driveway well, not the river.
Right. And we did go back and look at historical data, and up until that most recent data point, the highest we ever saw was at 1.5 parts, which is, under the level. So at this point, we're not panicking, and, we're not suggesting anyone else should panic either, but it is something to monitor. And one thing I just did want to, clarify is that, when we designed the Manly plant, we, as a group collectively built some flexibility into our design with how we selected and sized our vessels. And one of the reasons we did that was the understanding that in the future there may be a need to pivot to a different media, whether it's because we didn't like the life cycle costs we were getting, or whether all of a sudden the supply chain is disrupted and we can't get that media at a reasonable cost, or now,
Or change the
or
rules.
or a regulation change, right? And so what we're seeing here, you know, if we want to call it worst case, is if for some reason the perchlorate levels continue to trend. Tadenhauer does have experience in other communities where there was perchlorate. So we have, you know, experts we could bring in to assist, you know, our team in addressing that with you if need be, but there is an ion exchange resin that has been DEP approved for both simultaneous treatment of PFAS and perchlorate. And
Say that again? There's a, so there's
Yeah,
a,
thanks,
so
sorry, there's a
like
lot
a
of-
green sand type of thing that would take out both chemicals, is that?
It's
Or whatever?
essentially like a bead. It's we call it an ion exchange resin. And it gets, you know, it can be regenerated to some degree. And it's still an adsorption process.
Like that.
So that would go in with the green sand and?
No, it
So
does not.
our new
It's in our
PFAS
tank.
vessels, we would take out the media that's there, you know, presumably down the road after it's had a good, healthy life, and we've gotten our money's worth out of it, right? You'd pull it out, and the next time we did an exchange, you would essentially put in this ion exchange media, and the benefit it has over the media we're using is that it can remove perchlorate. So if down the road we need to, you know, there will be some improvements to the plant we'll need to do to optimize that system, but we're not talking
What are we
a new
looking?
building.
5
new
years, 10 years, or
process.
2 weeks?
Definitely not 2 weeks. I would be, I think we're.
Well, you'd have to go through the pilot and all this to get,
We
so-
would probably, yeah, we'd probably recommend
Take at
doing
least
a
out of
small
term.
side stream pilot to show that it works here. Yeah, then we pull this, you know, when we do a media changeover.
It's a couple of years out.
I asked what the next one was after the PFAS, so here it is, perchlorate.
Yeah, we
Well,
didn't-
the thing
Maybe,
is,
they could hit us
It's
with
only
something
new to you.
Oh, okay.
different, too.
Yeah, it's new to you, like, we've been treating it other places, but you've never had it.
But I don't understand, it says percolate is commonly used in solid rocket propellants, munitions, fireworks, airbag indicators, vehicle matches, and signal flares. And then in southwestern US, can be found a byproduct of hypochlorite solutions. We don't fit any of these.
I know, yeah.
Nitrate salts used to produce fertilizer, explosives, and other products. Wow.
And again, it could be that there's just the flume moving
Something
through,
coming.
we have this hit, we'll get back to background levels.
Is this,
But-
EPA need to justify their job? They ever come up with another chemical that's in the water that we have to remove?
So I don't think
And-
EPA is regulating it at all.
They just found out about it.
It's only
We
mass
just got
DEP.
a higher level. They didn't just find out about it.
Yeah, we didn't, yeah, sorry, the
Yeah.
regulations been
This
in
isn't-
place, it's new to us because it's never shown up in our wells before.
It's not everybody's EPA's not regulating it. It's mass DEP that has
That's
the
true.
regulation.
So again, I wanted to bring it up, not because we should panic, but just to know that the decisions you've made up to this point has put you in a position where if it does become an issue, we're not talking another
Building.
huge construction project.
Right,
Right, exactly.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Technically, drinking water is much the same as wastewater. You just have to keep cleaning it up depending upon what you keep finding.
I can't believe this perchlorate.
Don't get all hung up on the word perchlorate, because it's gonna be something
Well,
else
now,
in another year, and it's gonna be
well, that's
something
the
else. in your
thing.
opinion.
Another unfunded mandate coming down from Beacon Hill.
You're running for office again.
Not me, I'm done. It wasn't like this 35 years ago.
It's tough up there. And it's
Tough.
the small communities that get hurt.
That's the
most.
problem. We have no representation, even up on up Capitol Hill. We get 2 senators with,
Don't worry, we'll get another grant.
yeah, for the pilot program, and then when it costs us oodles to, all right, I've had enough
Not
talking.
yet, but we can move on.
Cameras
Then,
on.
Wayne, I saw your email this morning. So we also do have another grant. It's the Emerging Contaminants Grant. And essentially,
This isn't this? This is,
No,
oh, this is
No, that's the
existing.
CM Roman.
This is, yeah, so this is another funding source that we have not committed
It hasn't
funds
been
for.
touched yet.
So it's about $3.1 million. It's a grant, not a loan. And we had put in, and we showed that you guys had, I don't know, $12 million of
Right.
eligible work that you've recently done or will be doing, because.
Well, that's not a,
They allow you to go backwards with it until you get the grant, and then you can go backwards and claim for what you've already paid for.
But they just came out this morning and are essentially
Again.
putting the screws to us to say, tell us how you're gonna spend it.
Yep, and I gave 7 days to do it.
So, I think it's kind of a strategy thing more than anything, like it, I think where they give us so little time, I don't know if your preference would be, essentially grab what you've already spent and reimburse yourself, or whether, help yourself with the budget now, or strategically, if it's to look at what the next step is and save yourself from having to go for an appropriation for the next thing. But the next thing isn't really, imminent unless you want to use it to offset the costs, of this new treatment plant now.
I like that idea.
Well, I'm gonna say, if that knocks down the impact on the rates and
Yeah.
everything. Because again, we don't know what that other one could be.
For example, you could use that to pay our amendment.
your $1 million amendment, we can't get three,
We
we
knew
can't.
somehow it was gonna end up hang up on
But
it.
no, but
No,
that
that's
doesn't only have to go for construction then, that can go.
No, that's the
No,
benefit.
it
again,
can
of
pay
having
for
that
anything.
grant.
Similar to ARPA.
Where-
Which is why I recommend it. It's a cost
Right.
you
Well, we
have.
got 13 million over there we can use to put toward it.
SRF won't pay for engineering.
We couldn't use
They're
that,
buying meters.
we can't use that money for the meters, because that's for, that's the emergent contaminants.
Right,
But
it's
that-
not,
that's
you
only
can't use it
that's
for meters.
treatment.
It has to be on the list of projects that they approve. And this new plant is one of them.
So could we potentially get a couple of million out of that grant?
It's 3.1.
$3.1 million.
3.1 and offset it out of the 13.14 million that we have over here? Less the $1 million for your company?
You don't, yeah, again,
Yes.
the reason I
We could do
picked up
that?
the engineering.
Yes, you can
is
choose
it's
however you want. They
Perfect.
made
not
us,
eligible for
Except
SRF.
use it now instead of
Construction.
what could
right,
happen in the
they
future,
made us
whatever else
put
they find
multiple
out.
projects into it. Now, at the last hour,
Ah.
they're saying, now, when are you gonna spend it?
Yeah.
Okay, sign us up.
But again, it'll take off what we have to borrow from SRF.
Yeah,
Yes.
Reduce the principal on that loan.
I like
so
that. So will the ratepayers.
I think, right, because it'd be,
Yep.
We're
another
still not
treatment
gonna like it,
plant.
they're still gonna get it.
Well, they're getting hammered enough with other costs besides us, so every little bit helps.
No, if we can,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but I think it does, show you guys have worked very hard to minimize cost impacts despite all of the mandates that have come down you've had to adjust to, right?
Now, are you gonna take care of getting that response back within the
I'll work
7
with
days?
Wayne, yeah.
Okay.
But you get 7 days?
Yeah.
You-
I'm
It's
not sure,
unbelievable, right?
Oh.
Because we haven't heard.
I'm not sure it didn't come Friday, so
Right.
it might be less
You
than
already-
7.
You got till Wednesday at noon time to get it done.
I mean, we have to deal with it this week.
How much detail do they?
It's
need?
not much. It's-
No, they gave the
but it's
page.
committing to something we thought we had time to,
Talk
think
through.
through, strategize.
Is there anything requiring a board vote that would prohibit any
No,
movement of this? Okay.
I mean, I guess I can't really speak to that.
Well, no, we had already approved.
I can
going
print
after
out
it
what
way back.
projects they see,
Yeah.
and you can look at them right now if you want.
I mean, I have one copy with me if you guys want to look at it.
I mean, whatever, obviously, I'm just interested in the money to offset
We just
that.
wanted to try to get as much a grant as we could.
Yeah,
And
no,
it was
that's-
fixed
yeah,
at
that's fine.
3.1. So after
exactly.
that, it's
Tell
how you
them
want to
wherever it's
spend
gonna
it.
go and
Okay.
Is that EPA money or DEP money?
It's DEP money. I don't know if behind the scenes if there's a federal piece to it, if it's all state money.
Okay.
Because oftentimes they use DEP in their SRF program to manage funds that come from other sources.
Yeah.
So if there's federal funds, SRF will administer it, for example.
Probably federal. Okay.
No, so that'll make, so once you have the bag filter, if we have that, you can work that into this and see where we end up.
Exactly.
Money's already gone.
gone before we get it, pretty much all the time.
But it's, I guess it's better to,
That's the spending on the ARPA.
Bag filters cost $3 million?
No. No, better not cost $3 million for a bag filter.
no.
2 million for him,
No, we can't pay engineering on it.
No, we can,
No,
that's the thing. The
Oh, we
SRF is construction
Okay,
only, but
all right.
you
Right.
can pay this to anything you want to cut it out, so.
Right, so originally we were thinking maybe it would be used for PFAS piloting over here, because we knew we wouldn't be able to get, any other SRF funding for it. But now that they're telling us, to commit now, and my impression has
They
been
really
the
can.
board's not really ready to commit to pilot testing PFAS here. Trying to, spread the pain out, right? It might make more sense to apply it to the costs that are coming. And again, I mentioned the engineering only because you can't use SRF funding for it, but you can use grant money for it.
Perfect. Well, that's good news.
Yeah. Every bit helps.
Yeah.
And $3 million's not small change.
Nope.
No.
Wasn't free money though.
No, there was a lot of time.
Lot spent
They
next
kept,
years.
this is just another iteration where they redid the whole thing and it, booklet size, what we've been, it's like this might be the 5th, 6th or 7th time that we've had to go back to them.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we get the money. And again, we don't want to accidentally not get it because we failed to.
Well, that's when
apply
I
to
began
something
chasing
or-
it a while back and there was
Yeah.
a gap.
Good.
Right, so, yeah, check the date on when when the 7 days started and.
7 days ago.
Turn it around as quick as you can.
Yes, they started out by thanking us or congratulating us on getting the grant. And then at the bottom, you have 7 days.
Including Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, what else you got?
I think that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions on other things.
Sean?
I'm all questioned out right now for James.
Mark?
I have nothing. This fly is bothering me.
Yeah, bothering me
I
too.
saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
So flies on this guy over
Keeps
here.
dive bombing Kerry every once in a while, though. Ducking away from it. All right, you can,
Okay, can I just get a copy of that amendment? Oh, is it already ready? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll plan on coming to the next meeting to do the notice to proceed unless we're not ready to. I believe.
that depends on DEP.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, it better happen before the next board meeting.
As long as they're not on vacation.
I'm not going anywhere.
No, I mean DEP.
Oh, DEP.
Our representative or whatever it is.
They're, I don't know, but I hope not. But I think the first Monday falls on Labor Day.
It does. 2 weeks from today is labor.
So you're gonna do the
Meeting on
Tuesday, the 2nd? Okay,
Yep.
noted. All right, well, thank you for your time.
Okay. Thanks, James.
See you next
Thank
time.
you. All right, let's see. Old business. Okay, the appeal of the ZBA decision actually has moved something. There was an email this morning from Attorney Field who told us that the judge has approved the compromise. We have reviewed the plan.
Yep.
And sent the comments back. They went back and forth between the attorneys. That's been remanded back to the ZBA for them to amend their permit, assuming they go through with it and amend the permit.
Weren't
and
you
then
pretty
go-
aggressive with the boundaries on that? With the redesign of the?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got, we got.
No, I mean, it was aggressively approached from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that went back and forth with between our attorney and their attorney. It was agreed to, they put in a, whatever you call it, a motion to remand, so it goes back. So ZBA is supposed to do the special permit amendment to match the new plan that we agreed to.
So essentially, we got what we wanted.
And then it goes to planning board. And
Okay.
then it's still, but again, it still has to go through planning board
Yeah.
for the Water Resource Protection District special permit through them, which is gonna be the last one, because that got changed at town meetings, so they won't go through zoning board in the future. But that's actually now moving forward. There hasn't been anything posted as to when the ZBA is gonna look at it.
Okay.
And we killed stations 1, 2, 4, and 3 with James. Superintendent's job description, the board did meet with the Board of Selectmen last week. Basically agreed to have them look into the possibility of how you could potentially combine parts of the departments.
Yeah.
Just to see what might go on. I'm still playing around with what goes into the final job description. None of that would be happening until after your retirement, as far as the changes would be
Yeah.
happening until after your retirement. And we might find out that with all the issues trying to do it, that it might not make sense to combine it at all, but the idea was start looking at it now rather than at the very last second when you're out the door. 400 Manley Street.
Yeah.
So they,
This,
no, that's not that. No, they're the ones with the not doing their backflow test. So the last email I just saw was that they have the parts to make some repair. I don't know why that prevented them from testing it, but there must have been something wrong down in the pit with the backflow. So they have all the parts, and I think they're supposed to be on site next Wednesday or Thursday.
They bought a repair kit.
Yeah, but they would fail, they would have given me the fail results. They didn't. There's something, some parts down there, I don't know what it is, but the only other company that had things in vaults here kept having catastrophic failures. They eventually removed everything out of their vaults
Which makes sense.
because they just rot out.
Oh, it's humid in the condensation.
Right.
from the-
So they now realize that their long-term goal is to get that thing out of there and get rid of the tank. But that's a long-term goal with much capital spending that is way off in the distance. So they're making the repairs to make the test. So I have generated a letter. I'll wait and see what happens next week. They have until the 31st of this month before their 30-day extension was up. And then we'll see what happens.
and right now, they empty or they,
That tank is full of water.
no, yeah.
So what you said, it's just an inch and a half?
No, it's like
backflow?
an 8-inch.
Oh, it's for the whole building?
Yeah, it's
That's
the
for the
sprinkler.
Okay, and domestic?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was just.
Are
for
they
domestic.
supposed to take the tank down?
They want to do that eventually, but that's much further down the road with much capital involved. So that's not going to be planned to happen within the year, I don't think.
Have they run a test out there for the fire protection?
I have not had a fire flow test anywhere near there, so no, they haven't even done that yet.
When they looked at the ones for the new warehouse down towards the Brockton line, they didn't run anything closer up to the intersection or anything?
No. And most times they don't give me copies of their results, so I have no idea, and I don't ever want to give anybody something and they use it for the design and it fails.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's gotta be on.
Right, they have to do their own testing.
I was just curious if we had seen anything else.
Yeah, and I mean, the big one down to M586 does not have a tank.
Yeah.
And the 35 United Drive removed their tank. So tanks, with the Walnut Street tank
Right.
online, it
There's
seems to be
plenty of
helping out.
volume there.
Right.
Wayne, where is that vault for 400 Manley Street? Is it within 10
So
feet of
it's-
the foundation of the building?
It's right in the front corner of the building. As you pull into the parking lot, that front corner, it's there in the grass.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, not in the
No,
plumbing
no,
code.
not-
Not in the plumbing code.
Not with, it's within greater than 10 feet. Yeah, all right.
So you're just waiting to.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
The last thing I want to do is terminate anybody, especially a big commercial building. It's not, the only time we had to terminate anybody was when we were trying to get meters done, and we stayed working until every last customer called in and realized they didn't have water.
Okay. That shouldn't take too long.
Well, it took, the lady didn't come home until like 6:30 at night, and she goes, oh, well, I guess you did call my husband's bluff. Like, thanks for making us hang around for nothing. And she let us in to change the meter.
Well, speaking of meters,
Yep.
that's the last item on the agenda.
Well, we're working through it, is it, you know,
Yeah.
I'll spend whatever I have and then I'll run out of money.
How much money do you have, you think, to? work?
Well, out of that
Wow.
meter fund, we also pay for other things, so it's all the brass fittings, so 25,000, I think the line is, I'm not sure, I might have increased it through the years, but it doesn't go very far.
Do you send that out to bid for the meters?
So there aren't too many, the only Badger meter rep in the area is Stiles in
Yeah.
Norwood.
Is who?
Stiles Corporation in Norwood.
Yep.
So we could put it out to bid and we'd get bids from 2 other places that
Yeah,
have no
that-
intention of
Yeah.
Right.
giving us the
Yeah.
meters, and we're kind of stuck unless we wanted to change the meter system.
Right.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And what happened?
You have to basically replace everything.
All the meters in this town.
You could do it and you'd have a minimal amount that are beginning to fail now, but it'll take you about a year. You've got to get the companies to all give you solicitations, so you're gonna have to sit through meetings listening to them, tell you why their stuff is better than the other guys. And then you'd have to, you know, so about a year later, you could make that decision. In the meantime, you're gonna be upgrading meters. They're not a lot failing in the beginning because the program wasn't funded very well in the beginning, so it'll be a minimal amount. At the end, those would be the last meters you'd change out, so basically you'd be wasting them out just to carry you through.
Have the battery lives been extended beyond the 10 years with the?
They
original?
last about 15, so
Oh, 15.
then they haven't extended the battery life.
Okay.
But to change out to a different supplier, you'd have to get the whole reader system changed over.
Right, you'd have to change
So
everything.
you have to, you can't really just do it over 5
Well,
years without,
You can, it's
Run
just
it
a matter of, we're integrating it into the billing system again, which was, it becomes coding a line of, you know, strings. There's a certain amount of digits, a comma, the next certain amount of digits, a comma, like you set up the string. It took us almost 2 years to get that string correct with this, and each software upgrade that one of the 3 vendors does messes up that string.
and then you'd have to get it so that you could run both at the same time
Right,
and overlap.
yep,
But actually, what would we save? I mean, Badger's a quality product.
right. I don't like having an all-digital meter, because when the battery fails, the
gone.
last reading is the last reading.
Right.
If your transmitter wasn't transmitting correctly,
It's still there on the head.
and you've lost the head along with the thing, because it was digital.
Yeah.
Is Badger the only one still making?
I haven't really looked at it, but even they make a digital one now too. It's not to say that several years down the road that they may say, we're not gonna do it anymore. You know, I don't know.
No, but we can still get it, and we're still compatible with everything that we have.
Yes.
running For billing
Yep.
and everything else, so.
Right.
Have you gotten more notices of failures on the meters? Have you seen more of them since we talked about the last meeting?
No.
I won't know until they do the next reading on the second.
So they'll read on the
Okay.
second.
And that's when we'll see what happens. All right. And you think we should, if we're gonna start into it, increase that line item for the meters for the next few
Yeah,
years?
it's either that or I'll have to ask Kat, I know she's busy, but we did have an article, I don't know if there's any funding left in it. And then you just start refunding that article, so that we can go to the article for,
Instead of putting it into the line item?
Right.
Okay.
I can look after to see what we have now. I don't have it on here, it's just on my.
Because then we just go to town meeting with the article and ask to add more money into it.
Yeah,
So would it be over a 5-year plan? Is that what?
yeah, you
five-
try to spread it out over 5
And there's
years.
what, 2,500 meters in town? Give or
I
take.
want to say around 2,700,
Yeah.
give or take.
Yeah. So 500 meters at $200 a piece.
Yeah.
Do the math. I know.
I'm in front of TV, I don't, it's the end of the day,
Well, then, at the end of the day, you have, so
100
there's,
grand.
there's a, the other thing that's coming up is there's a subdivision going in off of Bryant Street, that farm,
Oh, yeah.
and I forget whether he has 11 houses going in there. I
Oh,
don't have
12.
the map either to see what the, I'm not sure what Bryant Street feeds, is fed with. I don't know whether it's a 4-inch.
I remember looking up, I thought it was a 4-inch.
Right, which
We don't
means,
have it on our GIS.
well, I'd have to
Bryant
get,
Street has a 4-inch water main?
yeah, give me
Less than,
1 minute and I'll tell you.
less than 1 minute?
What's the Hunter's Curve on a 4-inch street water main?
For what?
Hunter's Curve, don't you engineers use that, Hunter's Curve?
Hunters?
Hunter's Curve, yeah.
Maybe plumbing engineer.
No, well, plumbing it, well,
What's on, South Street that we can't touch now
that's at least a 6. That's what we fixed.
for 5 years?
Right, right.
Yeah, it's paved, can't touch it.
Yep.
What'd you say, Wayne?
You couldn't get through to South Street. When I
Oh.
looked at the thing, it looks like there's wetlands, because I thought of that before they started paving, but there's all wetlands. It reaches out by the cemetery there, the small cemetery. His
Yeah.
parcel of land
Why can't
reaches.
you go down, what? You can't go down the intersection?
Well, you have to
Brian?
run all the way down, yeah.
Is there, what's the
You
name?
have to
It's only,
cross
I think
the
it's a
street.
6-inch on South Street.
What's on, south,
6-inch AC.
inch and a half?
AC?
Yeah, we had that leak there right on Cross and South
yeah.
year and a half ago, so. And it was AC. And they found that, they had a wrench under it that was, when it was installed back in the
Yeah, that was
40s.
left in the trash.
Yeah, I think they used it as a prop for the pipe when it would tighten up the clamp, the fitting.
Hey,
You can kill that fly.
No flies on me.
You've been all over your straw.
So
That's
Bryant
all right.
is 4 and South is 8.
Oh, it's 8, okay.
south is 8.
Yes. But you can't get through. There's wetlands in the way.
That's too late now anyways.
He could come down Bryant Street. You'd have to decide whether you force him to run a main out from South Street and whether the town would actually let him open up South Street.
No, no way.
Or he could come through the top. No matter what, he'd have to cross South Street because the water main's always,
Well, what's
On the other
down,
side of the street.
Well,
What's-
he's gonna have to deal with.
what's
the
down
town
Main Street?
For that.
Does that 4-inch tie into what, it's gotta be a 12-inch.
What's on South Main?
No, I think
it's
a
on
six.
either end. So it ties into a 12 or it ties into the 8.
What's in South Main?
I want to say that's a 12.
Yeah,
Because that's where the
Have him break it down, and when he's done, pay Brian.
And you can put in sidewalks.
do we have control over that?
What?
Tying into
do.
a 4-inch line if it's not large enough to handle the
Yeah,
houses?
we can tell him he has to
Yeah.
increase whatever he has to do to get the
Okay.
water service there. If he doesn't like it, he can put in wells.
Because that's what happened to Lincoln Street, the factory on Lincoln Street, they needed large enough for fire protection.
Yeah, they
It's
want,
actually
they want,
tied into the 6 at South Main.
6, so it's a 6 and an
Yeah.
8 and a 4 in between.
There's a 6 on South Main.
Yes, it's
thought
the
there was two
old
mains on South
cast
Main.
iron. Yeah, there are 2 mains.
But
but
the sauce pipe runs.
his is tied into the cast iron.
Right.
But figuring he's not gonna have enough water to serve 11 or 12 houses.
Well, that's up to you
On
guys.
top of
Well, let's see,
4-inch
let's see
and-
what their engineering reports come.
I think it's 12 and 13, because he's doing one on, South.
He's doing, yeah,
Two
he's
on
doing
South
2. Well, he already ran those services in.
Yeah, those are off of South Street.
He ran them off of South, but he ran
Yeah.
before they paved.
But now you're talking about running in a hole.
Right, now he's running to a subdivision.
But what's the minimum subdivision line, 8-inch? So
8
you're tying an
inch.
8-inch into a 4-inch.
You can't do that.
No, that would be, no, you can't do
We
that.
call that telescoping in plumbing.
So
Right.
why?
It would have to run to another place and tie into something else.
Right.
I mean, you could tie into the 6
But that ain't
The other,
enough.
well, but that 6 is cross-tied to 12.
At some point, he's
Right.
not gonna, he's
In
just
that
gonna
street.
put in wells, because the town doesn't have a
Yeah.
bylaw that says he has to tie in.
No.
You know what the problem will be with that land though? Nitrates. From all
Yeah,
the
'cause
cows
all
over
the
past
farm
100 years.
field right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, yep.
Well, it's, I mean, Manley Street was, a lot of that got built up with wells first because they didn't want to pay for the extension. And then
Right.
finally, when it got worth it, they, they paid to have the line extended.
Yeah.
And we picked up those people, but.
And that main on South Main Street's on the other side of the street as well. It's on the Kenwood Tire side.
Yes.
So you'd have to, 2 layers of this.
Tunnel
Look,
under it.
well, that's what it is.
No, that's gonna be.
Yeah. And the same
So
whole.
is he formally asking us for a connection?
He's
yet,
not,
or-
I just saw it come through, it's one of the things that I see come through.
Yep.
But there's potentially another, I don't know, many more houses underneath the high tension lines on that other chunk of land there.
Yeah,
So you
I
could
see
be
that's
looking-
up for sale.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know what you could fit in there, maybe another dozen or so, you know, underneath the high tension lines.
And then you got another 29 houses up off of Crescent.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going,
He's going, the first 7 are coming up.
that's, he's been going pretty good in there all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
usually he sells the lots. This time, I didn't see that happen. I see the foundations going up.
They've pulled some plumbing permits on it for a couple of houses, Jeffrey Drive. with
Yeah.
Lane.
Yeah.
They don't have any water yet because he hasn't paid his tie-in fees.
Well, get them tie-in fees.
Well, I made sure we didn't
Did he
forget.
bring an 8-inch in?
I believe he did, yes.
Well, that's like, what, a 16 on Crescent Street?
Yeah, he tied into the 16.
Yeah, it's crazy water. Well, there's 2 lines.
Yeah.
There's 2 lines, that one that we repaired where.
Yeah, there's the 6-inch, the old 6-inch
Yeah.
that drops down to 4,
Yeah.
which should be abandoned, but you've got like 200 houses, you have to jump off of it.
Next time we're gonna pave Crescent Street,
Yeah,
get in there ahead of time and
Right.
do all of them.
Mhm.
So it's probably, if you don't do all of them at once.
No, you
can't
it's all or
abandon the
nothing.
pipes.
It's all or nothing, right.
So what happens, well, they all get new meters anyways,
what?
with all these new houses.
Yes, so I have to come up to fund them. I have to supply meters to them. They're paying.
Well, that's part of the hookups, right?
Yes, but it's not cash I get to touch. It goes into the general fund, and then a town meeting we allocate it and move it around.
Yeah, they don't, it doesn't come, it's not like they just give us the money to go buy the meter.
Right.
But, you know, what's the fees to? When it costs.
Well, that's what it's
$5,000 to
for.
bring in a,
That's what it's supposed to do.
Future well development.
And in a perfect world, when you're generating enough revenue that works, you can stop moving things to fund these different articles. But most of the commissioners, as long as I've sat here, have never wanted to touch the rates to make sure that that funding actually occurred. We're just at that stage now, however, eventually we're gonna get hammered with Manley Street and paying that debt, so our funding source will go down again.
You know, our rates are gonna be going up.
And then you'd have to offset to bring the rates up again.
What do we have coming off payment plan? Is it the tank paint, is that coming offline soon?
Oh,
How
if you,
about
the
tower on
Walnut
Manley
Street, so the tanks, yes, we're making our last payments to that.
On the paint
Yes,
job on the tanks?
yep.
And that was what, $1 million?
That was 2.1.
Ooh, okay.
I think we ultimately, that, both of the jobs, we did a lot of work in-house as much as we could,
Yeah.
so they came in at like 1.6.
And how about the tank on Manley? I'm
That-
saying on Walnut Street.
So Walnut Street will still being paid on when Sears paid off.
But that was only like 3.5.
It's a 40-year note,
That was a 3.5 year, $3.5 million
yes, but it's a 40-year note fixed through
fixed
the
it.
USDA at
Yeah, 'cause that
5.38%.
was the, what do you call it, the US Department of
Yes.
Agriculture,
Yep.
rural communities grant, something
Yep.
like that.
Yes, they gave us a grant on top of what we borrowed. But it was a 40-year note fixed at 5.38, and the town has never rebonded anything to redo it and get away from them to a lower interest rate.
A 5% bond for, a 5% muni bond. Wow, it's high. All right. Oof,
All done?
I'm done.
You done?
I'll have one last, I know I've been picking Mark's brain on this, so I found that
Oh.
the piece of equipment for the lagoons, the long reach, it's finding one available that isn't out. So I'm starting to call companies now. I found ATS and it's
No.
$5,400. They were,
They don't have.
What does that do?
they do have one, but it's out until like
To
October.
clean the lagoons at Manly?
Yeah.
Does the lagoons have a fabric underneath them?
So so the two lagoons that feed into the sediment lagoon are fabric lined in the stone, but it's stone based, so it's not, they're not fabric lined. They are, but you can't get at them.
You
In
walk
those,
down
below
and you
the
gotta
stone.
push through.
yeah, so in those lagoons, all we have to do is get the cat o' nine tails that are right on the surface. So the lagoons come down at a V, and then they drop down 5 feet to a trench. We don't need to be in the trench. We need to be on the edge of the V where the cat o' nine tails are growing. They're growing like a mass on the top. We've done it before with the backhoe and the excavator, but you're on the slope and it's kind of risky.
Yeah.
And it took us almost 2 months to complete the task.
Now, you understand, when you get up on top of that dike,
Yep,
and you got a 57-foot boom there, or whatever
Right.
it is, you're not getting under your feet. You realize? that?
no, I need the long reach to reach out to
I'm
it.
just telling you, that's not, it's a different,
It arcs out, so I have to look at the arc back. So the big arm is gonna reach so far, and then the other arm can only come back so far, correct? Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, but when you have something that big,
Right.
and you're working on this table and you wanna dig this wall out,
Right,
it ain't happening. You need room,
right.
so you have to be out in the parking lot to grab this.
I'm
That's what I'm
gonna,
asking you, because it don't, you know, an excavator could have 3 knuckles that
Right.
it bends for you.
so I can't, the machine is too big for me to swing around inside. In order to, so what I wanna get at is the back lagoon for the most part. The back lagoon is where it drains out, and it's not, because there's about 1 foot to 2 feet of iron and manganese now plugging it. It's
Wow.
never been cleaned. I don't know any other way to clean it. And right now it's dry. So it's a cake form down there.
After 30 years of use.
Right. So I don't need 70 feet of boom if I want to get in at my feet. Right.
I made up a number.
No, I know what you're saying, and I hadn't thought about that, but yes, I know that I can't, like he shows it almost coming back to underneath him. And that, in order to get at the lagoons, the back lagoon, I have to remove some of the fencing so I can get the machine in and turn to face out to the lagoon. And I'll do the same on both sides.
I rented I rented them a couple of times.
Yep.
I was gonna tell you about the guy Tebow up in New Hampshire,
All right,
and then there's a guy,
I printed out, there's a few people that have them. They're
well,
not-
that's what he does. He rents those things out.
Yeah,
And the other guy, he's up in, right on 109 and
yeah, I had,
not Hoppington, the next.
no,
town
there's,
before it.
Milford or somewhere.
Milford, I think.
Probably.
Let's see where they are.
I can't think of his name.
But I found 3 places so far, but I only
I
started with
mean, Cat would have them.
did they, I don't think they did. Well, the machine was super heavy. It was like
Yeah.
160,000 pounds
Yeah.
versus 60,000. And I don't know how well packed the banks are. I don't wanna go out there with a 160,000 pound machine and,
It collapses.
right.
Well, you're not gonna just throw that on a low bed with that stick. You'll have to take it apart
Well, that's them. I'm paying for delivery and pickup.
and put together.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
But
Yeah.
don't, all right? Look, I don't think you're putting it together.
I have no idea what to do with
The
it.
knuckles over there, the buckets over here.
Right. No, I want them to just show me how to start it up and drive it into the back of the plant.
I can't think of the other guy's name.
You're gonna try to get that done this summer?
Yeah, well, I want to do it before we come back online, because it's dry now. This is the time to do it. And that's like James had heard about, I asked him if it's okay for me to do it if I hired somebody. He never really answered that, but then he says, oh yeah, well, it's about 50,000. They're eager to have work.
I'll do
Yeah,
it
it's
for
about,
48.
I know.
Well, it's that labor
Sorry,
charge that
conflict
gets
of
us
interest.
68%.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, we can do this, you know, for under $6,000, we should be able to do this.
And then we're good for 30 years?
No,
No.
because the ATS was 5,200 or 50,
So how you gonna do it for 6 grand?
under $6,000,
How you gonna do that?
because it's us, our labor.
So we don't count that?
No, I don't count that. I don't count us. We're already paid to be here.
Where do we take it?
Well, that'll be another thing. I'll just store it up and then we'll figure out whether, I'll ask Phil if he can get rid of it, or then I just start looking for somebody to get rid of it. There's nothing wrong. It's iron and manganese with cat o' nine tails in it, vegetation.
So is that a hazardous waste?
It is not.
Do you have to have papers on that?
No. I'm not asking.
No, then talk to Phil and see about getting.
Right, I just wanted to make sure I can get the machine, and we have to clean cut. Right now, there's growth coming through the fences, so I need them to clear cut the fences.
Wouldn't it make sense to dig it and load it in a truck and get rid of it?
Yes, then I have to spend more time. I wanted to take a little vacation time before I got to October.
I thought you got 32 weeks left or whatever.
I
You got
have,
plenty of time, kid.
I got 15 months, but my vacation time runs out in October, so.
Well, you got troops here, if they can't handle it, without the big guy here.
Big guy's gotta figure out what it is and what to do.
So my entire time here, I've had new people pretty much the entire time.
You know, they're not as new as they used to be. But
Even if I have to store it up and then figure out how to get, yes, it's quicker, but if I can just store it on the Manley Street site and let it sit there and then figure out how to get rid of it afterwards.
The only thing I'm gonna say to you, and I don't care what you do with it,
Yeah.
you stop piling up 150, 300 yards of, you're gonna deal with Tim A.
All right. Well, I don't think I'm piling up that much. We did it before and it wasn't that much vegetation.
well,
What else?
see what it is. Just keep going on it. What else do we have? Anything?
No.
Anything, John?
But no, our next meeting is the Tuesday because the meeting is, Labor Day is the regular date.
The
so-
Monday.
Yes.
The Monday, yeah. So I have nothing else to say other than the meeting.
Don't bring the pet fly the next time.
I will, with the Board of Health here.
Anything else there, Mark?
I have nothing.
Okay, officially set the next meeting for September 2nd?
So moved.
September 3rd, right? The 2nd is the,
September, no, I think September 1st is that Monday.
the
Yeah.
2nd is the Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn
Mo-
at 6:25.
So moved.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No one's opposed.
Never.
Well, that doesn't go very far.